Kahalalim la Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi Bahasham Haha Kodesh. As it is written, let the elders, the rule, become the worthy of the honors, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine, which are the Presbyterian of Great Millstone, beginning with the elder apostles, the elder bishops, and the elders on down. Peace and salutation to all the Akim of the elect. By Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi Bahasham Haha Kodesh Barakatham. Rashalom, Sons of Esharallah. My name is Gabaga of the Hopeful Election from the Company of Prophets in Toronto, and today is March the 6th, all right? March the 6th, almost 7th rather, it's like another day closer to the deliverance of the elect of Israel and the destruction of Babylon the Great, aka America, which is to be destroyed, all right? And any day now, all hell could break loose, as going to a time in the scriptures known as Jacob's trouble, or Tazariah Ekra, but the Hebrew, okay, a time like never before, which is going to basically happen when all hell breaks loose in society, okay, and all manner of, law and order, gets dismantled. This is when people are gonna take matters into their own hands, and basically it's gonna be like the world wide west out here. This is this is times we're coming into. All right, and so like I was saying, the name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, okay, which means that's a true power of heaven and earth. His name is Yahweh, which Yahweh means him to be. He is, he exists. It's a true power of heaven and earth. All right, and his son's name is Yahawashi, whom the world only calls JC. Yahawashi means the deliverer or his savior, and the Ruach HaKodesh is the Spirit Holy. These are the names they're supposed to call upon and pray to, especially also called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and all among the heathen. I mean, it looks like the heathen, but still it goes back to the patriarchy of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob on your father's side. So going into it. It's real quick. This is a short of Trump basically, cursing out Spain and the UK, basically not aligning with him as far as like letting Trump establish his business over there, so that he can use their land to as grounds to bomb the so-called Middle East, all right. And ultimately, this is going to prophecy, okay? Because as we see, this man is really at his wit's end, okay? Right now, everything that he does is really backfiring in his face, okay? And ultimately, at the same time, too, he's alienating himself from his allies, okay? He's basically, cutting himself out, okay? Here it is, first he was going against Greenland, okay, which is all Greenland. Of course, he also came against Canada, okay, imposing tariffs against Canada, putting tariffs up on Europe, okay. So it's coming against his own allies, which all these countries like Canada, okay, Greenland, and now it's coming against Spain. These are all countries that's part of the NATO, okay, and these are supposed to be an alliance. It's supposed to be union. It's supposed to be united. As far as like, if there's any threats, that threaten any of these countries, they're supposed to come together and ultimately face that threat. But now you have Trump. Here it is. He's actually, he's threatening his own allies, and he's alienating himself from the body, right? Which is all prophecy. Ultimately, these NATO kingdoms, okay, his allies are ultimately going to come against him. Going to come against America and to destroy it. So go and play this.
Now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases, and that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it.
See, that's our pride of Israel. This man so prideful to where it does not care about the sovereignty of his other countries. So I say, even though Spain does not allow them to use their business, they say they're not fly in anyways. And this is going to show you that this is the most proud of all. It tells in scriptures, the head that was more stout than his fellows. Let me go and get that. Let me go in the word stout. Stepping stout. Yeah, can right here. The book of Daniel 7 verse 20, and it reads, and the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, right? And 3, I believe that's going to the British, the French, and the Spanish, and the Spaniards, right? It says, before whom the 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, and that mouth, that spake very great things. This goes into the philosophies of America, the philosophies of the West, the so-called Western civilization. Okay, the fact that they come against Heavenly Father. Okay, tells you in the scriptures, that they shall wear out the sins of the Most High, and utter great words against the Most High. Saying, the whole thing about them pushing, the Big Bang Theory. Okay, he's saying great and swelling words. Okay, they're pushing, that the Most High, the angels, okay, the prophets of old, even the people of the Most High, that they are supposed to be Caucasians. Okay, speaking great, he's speaking, great things, man. Right? It says, and a mouth that speak very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Let's look up the word stout here. The word there is Raab. It says captain, chief, great lord, master, stout, great captain, chief. Let's look up the word, what it actually means in the, let's see what Google says. Let's see, stout. It says stout, somewhat fat or heavy build. Okay, strong and thick. All right, kind of strong dark beer with roasted malt barley. Okay, so basically, something that and he's trying to basically portray that strength, which really it does not have. Okay, America is spread too thin. Okay, and they will not. This guy has, he has, he's been given a check that can't cash, right? He's saying things that that don't make any, that they can't back up. Okay, he's making all these statements and all these, making all these proclamations. Okay, but it's not happening. Okay, when this man was actually, when he was campaigning for his presidency, okay, one of the things they said, that he would end all these never-ending wars, and now, he within less than a year, he started 2 wars already. See, so this man's a liar and a deceiver. Okay, let's go back here. Daniel 7 verse 20. Right, it says, and a mouth that spake great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. So you look at the word stout, it means strong and heavy built. So that's literally how America feels, when it comes to the world stage. They feel like they can, is the man on campus, right? But that's a pride. That's a proud man. So it says here, 3 horns that fell represents the French, English, and the Spanish. That's right. It says, Luke was more taught than his fellows. America, Edomites think that they are better than other Edomites. That's right. You see? That's why he's making these statements right here.
But we don't have to. But they were unfriendly. And so I told him, we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people. But they don't have great leadership. And
so now it's dissing them. Saying that they have great people, but they have a bad leadership, right?
Great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they want to agree to go up to anything.
See, this man, is like, he has no filter, man. Okay, he just says whatever comes to his head. Okay, he's not a good diplomat. He doesn't know how to negotiate. Okay, it's that his way or the highway. And America, given the state of the union right now, this man is no position to be arguing, okay, or to be making demands, to be giving ultimatums, because America is broke. Okay, the whole government is broke. Okay, the soldiers, they are, they are tired of fighting. Okay, the military, has been, is full of not a bunch of these alternative lifestyle people. Okay, they're making TikToks. They're making, it's like TikTok dancing videos. These people, there's no position to be coming against great military might like Iran and Russia. This is not the time. If anything, this is America would had a better chance, before all these countries, had nuclear capabilities. Now that the countries have nuclear capabilities, America has nothing to say. Okay, so that's why, as you can see, even with 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 Maduro, okay, they were able to go in and do what they did because Venezuela does not have the military might or the firepower, but with Iran, okay, this thing is not gonna be like Venezuela. Venezuela was only like a day it took and that was it, but now with Iran, this thing is gonna drag on for months, right? And now he's alienating himself from his allies. Okay, he's accusing his allies, of calling them broke. Okay, saying that they can come in and and basically use their land without their permission. So this man is at his wit's end, man. He's talking out of his ass, so to speak. Let me go and get this. Let's go back to the book of Obadiah. Okay, Obadiah 1 verse 1 verse 3? It's like 1 verse 7. It says Obadiah 1 verse 7 reads, all the men of the confederacy, that goes into his allies, okay? Yes, the alliance, the pledge, right? NATO, right? So all the men of the confederacy, like all these countries, all the countries that are NATO and also their allies, which Japan is among them too. All the men of the confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Meaning what? All these nations that are supposed to be allied to America, they're going to, push America to the side. America is going to be left, standing by itself, America and Israel, right? It says the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, right, and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. Okay, so these are the countries that that do trade with America, which Europe is is big on that. Same as Canada, right? All these countries that are to America, the Saudis, Saudi Arabia, like Qatari, these are all American allies. Right? It says they that ate thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is not understanding in him. You see, so Trump is not able to, is not able to figure it out. Get precept in the book of Revelation 17 verse 16, which reads, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. And the whore is who? The whore is America. The 10 horns that's going to the European nations, right? So the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. That's right. So these are her allies. That's when they're going to turn on her and ultimately shoot missiles upon America, man. That's how it's going down. It says America's allies will take part in its destruction by the way of a fire, i.e. their SBMs. That's right. Okay, so this is you witnessing the beginning of that, right? Like right here.
They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain. Now Spain.
So saying that they're going to cut off all communication with Spain, right? So let's quickly come and say Benjamin Netanyahu is the U.S. worst president. So that tells you, that people are privy to the fact that Israel really controls America. So Spain spit in his face perfectly, right? We love Spain, right? Spain doesn't want to buy weapons because they have no plans of fighting wars for Israel. Good job, Spain. You see, U.S. needs a regime change. Yeah, man. So these are the countries that are going to look at America. They need to, they need to take out this big bad bully that's that's basically coming in the way of them being able to prosper. Okay, because now the whole thing about the Strait of Hormuz being blocked, that's going to basically throw these nations instead of I want to say basically they're going to be thrown into like a desperation, right? Because the gas prices are climbing up, These people gonna get desperate. The people are gonna get desperate. The citizens, then it's gonna ultimately, they're gonna push governments to do something, and the governments are going to ultimately, resort to coming against America, trying to destroy it. This is the truth, man. So me also getting to close up with this. Let's see. And it's beautiful how it's playing out too, because when you go to Psalm 33, at first these nations, they come together so that they could oppress Israel. But now, the Most High is giving them a taste of the old medicine, and these nations, they're going to come against each other now, right? Psalm 83, verse 9, right? It says, so the topic here is, it says here, the Most High implored to confound his enemies. And the top enemy is Esau Edom, a so-called white Caucasian race, right? So go to the point, verse 9, it says Psalms 83 verse 9, and it reads, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera and as to Jabin, as at the brook of Kishon. Now, if you know the history, when you go into this, okay, in these altercations, okay, they come against Israel. Ultimately, the Most High made to where the soldiers fought against themselves, right? Ultimately, end up destroying each other, right? It says, which perished at Endor, they became as dung for the earth. So let's look up Endor. Hold on, let's go back here. Let's type in that was yes, type in Sisera or the Midianites. I forget which word exactly goes with it, but let's try this. Sisera. Yeah, kind of here. So it's the count is the book of Judges, chapter 4. Let's go and get that. Yeah, so it says Judges 4 verse 6, and it reads, and she sent and called Barak the son of Abinoam out of Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, hath not the Lord Yahweh, power of Yasha'Allah, commanded, saying, go and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with thee 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali and of the children of Zebulun, and I will draw unto thee to the river Kishon, Sisera, and the captain of Jabin's army with his chariots and his multitude. They will deliver him into thine hand. Right. So this is the Most was ready to defend Israel. Okay. It says verse 8, and Barak said unto her, if thou wilt go with me, then I will go, but if thou wilt not go with me, then I will not go. She said, I will surely go with thee, notwithstanding the journey that thou takest shall not be for thine honor, for the Lord Yahweh shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. Because let's go to the point. It says verse 10, and Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and he went up with 10,000 men at his feet, and Deborah went up with him. Now Heber the Kenite, which was of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moses, had severed himself from the Kenites and pitched his tent unto the plains of Zanaim, which is in Kadesh, right? And they shewed Sisera and Barak the son of Abinoam that Barak the son of Abinoam was gone up to Mount Tabor, right? See, and Sisera gathered together all his chariots, even 900 chariots of iron, and all the people that were with him from Harosheth of the Gentiles unto the river of Kishon. And Deborah said unto Barak, up, for this is the day which the Lord Yahweh hath delivered Sisera into thine hand. Is not the Lord Yahweh gone out before thee? So Barak went down from Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. It says, and the Lord Yahweh discomfited Sisera and all his chariots and all his host with the edge of the sword before Barak, so that Sisera lighted down of his chariot and fled away on his feet. But Barak pursued after the chariots and after the host of the Harosheth, the Gentiles, and all the host of Sisera fell upon the edge of the sword, and there were not a man left. Right? So yeah, the point of the matter is that the Heavenly Father came in and confounded them. Right? When you go into the word discomfited, let's look it up. Yeah, so it is comforted, right? The word there is hammam. It says to move noisily, confuse, make noise, discomfit, break, consume, crush, destroy, trouble, vex. To move noisily, to confuse, discomfit, vex. Okay. Let me see. There's not that but there's another account where basically the Most High had it where our enemies put a spirit upon them and they literally fought each other, okay, and destroyed each other, okay. Let's go back here. Let me see here. So let's see if this comes up. All right, so this might be it. So to go to Chronicles 20 verse 20. It's real quick just to get the point. Yeah, kind of here. This is a point right here. The book of 2 Chronicles 20 verse 23 says, "For the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of the Mount Seir." So right here, you have three different nations, which is all hidden. All right, like when you go into, like I said earlier, when you go to the book of Psalm 83, these nations come together to oppress the children of Israel. But now the Most High is going to have them test medicine to where these nations are going to come together to destroy each other. Okay, and specifically, America is going to be ground zero, right? So for the children of Ammon, and which Ammon, that's talking about the Japanese, so-called Japanese, right? And Moab is talking about the so-called Chinese. So the children of Ammon and Moab stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, which Mount Seir is talking about so-called white race, Caucasians, okay? Stood up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir early to slay and destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, everyone helped to destroy another. Everyone helped to destroy another. And when Judah came toward the watchtower in the wilderness, they looked to the multitude, and behold, they were dead, bodies fallen to the earth, and none escaped. So that's it, man. So the point here is that the Most is going to have it to where these nations come against each other.
Iran is not an existential threat to Israel,
right?
But it is a strategic threat. Now, let's compare the records of these two countries. Iran has never attacked a neighbor. Israel has repeatedly attacked its neighbors. Iran signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Israel has refused to sign. Iran submits to inspection by the International Nuclear Energy agency, Israel refuses to submit. Iran has no nuclear weapons. Israel has between 75 and 400 nuclear weapons. So Israel poses an existential threat to Iran. Now,
Yeah, man. So the truth is coming down to these devils, man. So da mun gode na sai brata ya hawa brata ya wa shahi, sai kuma shawala wa abad babal shlam tled shlam alaikum.